my dad had a bit of a drinking problem, and there was some grain stolen, grain cars stolen, and the guy that was in charge, he decided that, he said to my dad, well, perhaps you should take the fall for this, because, you know, if you don't, there's going to be problems about, I mean, it wasn't my dad, and that was where I got my social conscience from. Because I knew that even at 10 years of age, I knew that wasn't fair. And I remember saying to my mum, can't we do something? And she said, well, no. And I said, as I said, that was in 1946. When I first got involved, particularly when I went to Labour Council, you could get up and say whatever you liked, you know, within reason, of course, and nobody said you're stupid or you're not or whatever. They didn't always agree with you. A lot of times they didn't agree with me, but they gave you the right, and you didn't have to say it like a, you know, if you weren't that well educated or you weren't, everybody was entitled to say what they, and CUPE was like that at one time too. You could go to conventions and stand up and say, and we had the right to disagree with each other and that sort of thing. And I always thought that was marvelous. Well, when I got to Ottawa, I got some of that kicked out of me, because I found out that unions were no real difference than corporations or other kinds of organizations. They had their power politics and they had their things going on, and some of the things that they would try to get you to vote for or not vote for, I found, and of course they probably thought when they seen me, here's somebody we can really convince to do some of these kinds of things, because she's really green and she's really naive, you know, so. And I often used to say, when I first went on staff, I kind of wished that maybe I could go back to being just a member where I was, still thought everything was wonderful. One of the things about doing those things is, I think, is that if you're coming from the heart and you really believe in what you're saying, that's what I used to try to teach people was in my public speaking courses is, like, don't be afraid to get up there and say what you feel, because people need to know those things. And you won't, sure, you might be afraid at the start, but you won't be once you, if it's your passion and you care about it. I admired Grace Hartman. I think she was a good woman. She was, I think, I'm not entirely sure that she surrounded herself with, but that happens to all of us, I guess.
Well, you'd recall when she went to jail.
Yes, exactly. She went to jail, her and Lucy Nicholson and Ray Arsenault.
Yeah.
And
what was that about?
That was the hospital workers' strike in Ontario. And they said it wasn't legal, and they sent her, and she went to jail for the longest, for 3 months, and she wouldn't come out for good behavior or anything. She stayed her full term, and I remember talking to her, because her and I became quite good friends. I remember talking to her about that.